through power Tiberium Wars tournament. We've got two titans of the game here, I would describe them as. We have Shoktrepet in the teal as Nod, and Shocktapus, he went as random, but he has got Scrin here on Tournament Arena. So I already know I'm going to get these names mixed up because Shocktapus or Shock Treatment goes by both of those names, and then we've got Shoktrepet in the right hand side. So Shocktapus going for his Explorer, hoping to capture his blue Tiberium early on, and the same goes for Shoktrepet in the bottom right. We'll also see both players claim their spikes and scout each other in the map. The difference being Shoktrepet has gone for a Shadow Team rush. So alongside the expansion, quite an early investment in his economy there. So we'll keep track of these and see if they can take down the outpost, which it looks like it's not defended, although if there was anything there, they wouldn't be able to take out anyway, with the Shadow Teams being stealthed. No dissents to back this up from Shocktapus, so he knows his opponent has expanded, but he's not able to stop it. And as we see, an early refinery on the blue Tiberium. We have a short battle between the buzzers and the infantry units there. Early Seeker tank from Shocktapus. He's got two refineries on his main field, and of course nothing on his blue field at the moment. It'll be interesting to see if Shoktrepet, you can see my mind searching for the names already. It'll be interesting to see if he's going to double down on this early expansion, whether he stays one refinery or goes two. But what he does have is only one refinery on his main field, so it was important that he was able to block Shocktapus from the blue Tiberium, because he did invest a lot of money in those early Shadow Teams. So I think Shocktapus realizing that and sending some Seekers over to the base of Shoktrepet, and he's moved the Harvester out the way, saving it, but it isn't refining at the moment. So like I mentioned, it looks like he's doubling down on the blue field, causing a bit of havoc with those Shadow Teams. And Shocktapus is probably in low power mode, but he has moved his drone platform and he is now accessed the blue Tiberium. So I think at this stage we're probably even, especially with Shocktapus possibly harassing his opponent's base here, possibly taking out a power plant. Although we have Bike Buggy back up now. There's some alliteration for you. And we might see Shoktrepet targeting down the spikes. It's not going to go in one, but Shocktapus has now got to repair that and spend some economy on it. And we'll follow these Bike Buggies as they go over to Shocktapus's base. Look at that smooth panning over. they changed direction, so we've got to follow them up as well. And we've gone Crane from Shocktapus, and he is protecting that with a Buzzer Hive. He knows the Shadow Teams are out. And this is a fairly big swell of Bike Buggy from Shoktrepet, and he's very, very strong at splitting all of his forces and stuff like that. So he's probably gonna sort of kite these up and down the map and really stretch Shocktapus in terms of how he defends these. So we might see a Harvester go down here, and we do. One down. Are we going to see another one? We are. So really keeping his opponent off the blue field whilst he has harvested all of his. So what I'm thinking is he teching behind this? No, he's not teching. He's going for a swarm of tier 1 units. And I think that's a good strategy. I mean, look at me critiquing Shoktrepet, one of the most experienced players in the game. But I suppose he could either tech up at this stage, or he could just fight one-on-one in terms of those tier 1 units. And he knows Scrin do have a difficult early game, and he's still harassing with those Shadow Teams. So this might be overwhelming for Shocktapus now. He's pulling all of those Seekers back. And it's clear this was a good strategy, because he's got so much mobility now. You see how he's keeping those spikes separate. They're doing their own thing, taking out harvesters. But we'll focus here on this now main field for Shocktapus, and it has no harvesters on it, but he's got a tripod out. He has managed to tech up before his opponent, so maybe we'll get some crushes in, or maybe it's going to be a bit too much. We'll keep its health bar up so we can see, but it's got repairs, but it might not be enough. But now the I forgot what that's called. Let's have a look. It is the phase field. The phase field rendering the tripod invulnerable, and maybe it could go for some crushes. Is Shoktrepet still producing units? No, he's teched up. He's not upgrading anything as yet. We'll go back to where the action is. Another tripod up. This one not phased, so it can attack. And we have the catalyst missile. Excellent timing there. It's not going to attack any of the harvesters, but all of the infrastructure to do with Shocktapus' economy is now pretty much down. So you've got to say that's probably it for Shocktapus, but he's not going to give up. He has got a couple of tier 3 units to perhaps defend, and can he get his economy back up? At least he's got some build radius still. That is important. But now we see the tier 3 transition from his opponent, Shocktapet. And with those two war factories, they're being produced at quite a rate. And we have the Scorpions back defending their own base. And Shock Treatment showing his resilience and experience here. He still thinks there's something in it in this game. We could see him produce some shock troopers, for example. But those shadow teams causing all kinds of problems still. Low power again. This is going to slow the construction. He's also lost his spike as well. That was, I'm sure, the shadow teams having their impact. And it looks like more harvesters are going to go down. His phase field probably hasn't replenished, but he does have his portal. It's not a portal, is it? Let's have a look what it is. No good at the names today. It is the stasis shield. So he's just ready and waiting here. And if he can get one of these Annihilator tripods close enough, he's going to get the EMP on these units. But that's an excellent mine drop there. Critical timing, and that could be it. And alongside the base creep there, Shocktapus throws in the towel, and that's 1-0 to Shocktapet. Welcome to game 2 between Shocktapus and Shoktrepet. This time Shocktapet in the top left as GDI, and Shocktapus getting Skrin again. So probably cursing his luck slightly, as Skrin sometimes have a difficult early game. And we're on Tournament Tower. Always nice to show that characteristic feature in the middle of the map. And that's where it gets its name. And we have each player battling over 2 of these Tiberium fields, and probably base creeping towards the middle of the map. We'll pick up those early strategies. Both players just trying to claim their spikes, and both players aiming to creep up this ramp onto the central platform. Any shenanigans from either player? Shocktapus trying to snipe that NG, not being successful, but definitely not a bad gamble to take, as he only sent 1 buzzer squad. Could have paid off. Now both players have war factories up. You can see they're building it on this ramp so they can creep up. And in terms of economy, both players with 1 refinery, although we will keep track of these APC NGs, or soon to become APC NGs, or Rocket Squad NGs. We see the early scout, and now Shocktapus knows what's coming, and he has produced a couple of Seekers early on. Really good strategy from Shocktapus, and this is a blank APC at the moment, and is the one following up the APC NG. No, it's the one with rockets. So he's probably going to send the other one to the spike, or maybe around the side of the map. And Shocktapus, early investment in Seeker tanks. So against GDI, I think a really good strategy. So he's going for the base. He's taking a big risk here. Perhaps a little bit safer strategy to claim his opponent's spike, but he's really going for it. And I suppose not a bad strategy if Shocktapus is preoccupied with some of these units at the front. Now, is he going to get the drone platform? Shocktapus has seen it, and that is an outstanding snipe from Shocktapus. Really good micro there to immediately take out his opponent's engineer. So he lives to fight another day in terms of keeping his drone platform, and he's already got enough Seeker tanks to defend against any more. And that was a fairly large early investment, although I suppose Shocktapus only went with one engineer. So those Seeker tanks doing a little bit of scouting. Shocktapus immediately producing rocket squads, so he's got his defense sorted. Important clearing of the central tower from shock treatment, and those buzzers are going to be able to take out those rocket squads. Harvesters coming to the rescue with their mounted turrets, I suppose. Now, I have played Shocktapus on this map before, and I would describe him as a bit of a master of the push, the base push across this central part of the map, and he loves bunkering down with his rifleman squads right inside your base. So we'll see here if he uses the same kind of strategy. Shocktapus has transitioned to the Devourer tanks, and he's powering them up just in time. Really even match so far. And if Shocktapus can produce enough buzzers to take out this missile squads, they're not going to be all that effective. Although, fantastic use of the sniper teams from Shocktapus. Are they too close to this buzzer field? You can see the tanks are taking that out as a priority to try and protect the sniper teams. And it's actually Shocktapus pushing forward with the base push and protecting it well with power plants. And he is up to tier 3, a tripod spat out of the portal. And it's going to make light work of these Predator tanks, but the rocket squad's really effective against that tripod, then it goes down. So is it the riflemen, sorry, I keep calling them riflemen, rocket squads. Is it the rocket squads that are gonna tip this match in favour of Shocktapus? We have some harass at the back of the map that we've missed here. This harvester almost going down, but Shocktapus producing the orcas that are going to take out those Seeker tanks. Still some Predator tanks in terms of defense. Anywhere near tier 3 here? No, we've gone with an investment in tier 2. Sorry, I tell a lie. The tier 3 is right in front of my very eyes. And what does that mean? It means juggernauts. So artillery bombardment. And I suppose now it's how quick can shock treatment almost spot this. He's got his mastermind out. I always get frustrated if people on YouTube don't spot any kind of mastermind plays, so we'll try and follow that as it goes, and probably tries to claim that tier 3. For a moment I was thinking, what is that Juggernaut doing shooting at its own base? But we have a very, very ballsy Devastator warship here, pushing forward, getting taken out. That's maybe what the Juggernaut was trying to deal with. But as I said, let's follow the mastermind. Let's see if it can get the tech. And we see those advancing Devastators being taken out. Surely it's going to get these. Oh! Well, the immediate sell-off there. So, although Shocktapus gets the money back, he's no longer on tier 2. And he's sold some of his power plants as well. He's scoping out what Shock Treatment's doing. He's producing these upgraded shock troopers from Shock Treatment. He is now harassing harvesters. This time with some air units. He's got his orcas on the go. Trying to focus down some power plants. Don't know how effective that is in the long run, but I didn't even know you could do that, to be quite honest. Shock Treatment nabbing one of the orcas and sending it to its death. Now, quite a swell of units from Shock Treatment now, and with his opponent only at tier 2, he's probably going to have to focus on rocket squads here, missile squads. So we'll see how that continues. He's getting the snipers out in order to try and defend, but again, the theme is poking with the Devastator warships is Shock Treatment, aka Shocktapus. But here we go, fantastic use of the Firehawks there, making light work of these screwing aerial units. Been a bit of a theme, hasn't it? In terms of those Devastator warships just advancing a little bit too far towards his opponent. And here we go, now we have this single Juggernaut really doubling down on the GDI air units, and this is going to be a really interesting battle here. If these tripods can get in the face of the Juggernaut, they may well take it out. The orcas focus firing down on the Juggernauts. Really effective strategy there against these tripods. And we have the buzzer hives taking out the infantry alongside the Devastator warship, so pushing his opponent back. The comment I would make at this point is we have a very low eco map now, and Shock Treatment does have just more money, I think, invested in tier 3 units, although it's not far off with the Juggernaut remaining up. And a transition now to Gunwalkers and those sort of plasma volleys taking out lots of infantry. It'll be really important to see if the Juggernauts can take out the downed tripod before it gets claimed. And I think really the main barrier here to Shock Treatment's success will be these orcas. Can he keep those tripods away from the orcas for long enough? Because they are going to cause difficulty. And how many Firehawks can his opponent make? Is he going to be able to conserve his tech? So Shocktapus definitely with an advantage in mobility. And as long as he can keep that Juggernaut up, he is going to be able to push Shock Treatment back. But as I said, we're sort of 4 Gunwalkers with a tech still up compared to Shocktapus 1. He's in a difficult position here. It's not like he's got a lack of units, it's just they aren't the top level ones. They're not tier 3. And we hear the sound of the mastermind, but we have no idea what it is. It is a harvester. So whether this is going to be target fired, most probably doesn't seem like the best use. But certainly Shocktapus trying to steal some economy. You can see he barely has anything, although he does have the spike. So I hope Shock Treatment is able to notice that or claim it, because that is going to give him a slight advantage as the game goes on and on, now that they're both on pretty much nothing. Shock Treatment just having a little bit in his base. So really clever strategy here with the phase field. He's going for the crushes. I only wish that this was backed up maybe by at least the Devastator warship, but certainly a really interesting use there of these units. Really clever, going and getting several crushes. Really creative play that. taking out a lot of those missile squads. As we see the Orcas take out some of the power. I think that's why Shock Treatment is being a little bit passive at the moment, because he knows he's got to keep those alive. And how many of these Gunwalkers will stay alive? Couple of them make it away. Zone Troopers out, which means Tier 3 is back up. And I wonder if Shock Treatment has just lost a little bit of an edge now that his opponent has been able to match in terms of Tier 3. The strategy is take out the power from Shocktapus, and now Shock Treatment pushing. I wonder how long these Zone Troopers can stay alive. That is a huge investment. And if the Gunwalkers can make light work of them, then that's the beginning of the end, and that is exactly what happens. If these Harvesters go down, that's it. And I did say it would have been preferable to sell that Harvester, but Shock Treatment pulling out all of the stops in this game and creative thinking, using it to crush infantry. That's how you know you're watching high-level players. They're coming up with strategies that you didn't come up with quite as quickly. Right then, so that's 1-1. We'll see you in the next one. Everyone, welcome to Game 3 of the finals between Shocktapus as the teal GDI, and on the right-hand side of the tournament rift map, we have Shocktapus, aka Shock Treatment, as the pink nod. So it's interesting to see how this one goes, because this map tends to suit Nod, with the army being a little bit more mobile, but as always he has got to face off some early APC entries, I am sure. So both players claiming their spikes early, or at least attempting to. Shocktapus has already got the one closest to his, and has got a refinery on the field, soon to be followed by a war factory, I'm sure. And the early scouts are going out. Shocktapus choosing multiple squads there, as I think he knows that Shocktapus' main strategy is to bunker down with those GDI units, and that gives him really good map knowledge. We have a bit of a chase on our hands here in the south of the map. Two rifleman squads are probably going to be just too late to get this infantry squad. No, but they've turned around. Will one make it? No. So it is a challenge trying to keep track of everything, but that is an unfortunate misstep, if you can call it that, really, at this early in the game. Possibly not. And we have our first APC NG going across the map. So I'm sure Shocktapus has seen this. And did I see the pack up of an MCV? Yep, I think Shocktapus was trying to slow it down perhaps there with his Raider buggy. And Shocktapus just seeing that his base is well defended, his opponent's base that is, and he's taken his engineer out to capture the spike. And we have two catching the spikes in the south of the base. So that is an awful lot of spike capturing going on. I think Shocktapus was tailing this MCV with his Raider buggy just to make it that more difficult to move, which is quite a hilarious step there. Very creative, just like in the last game. So Shocktapus got quite a lot to catch up on in terms of economy now. 3 spikes to 1. Wait a second, he's got all 4 spikes at the moment. That is absolutely ridiculous. So Shocktapus finding it difficult. Mines being utilized all over the map, and we see Shocktapus trying to stretch the play here. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to take out any harvesters. It's more just forcing units out of his opponent. And more Scorpion tanks trying to make it, and does delay the harvesting a little bit, and causes his opponent to invest in some tier 1 units. And these will probably be more Scorpion tanks making it to the fray. These Scorpion tanks are going to make light work of these APCs that could have been used for scouting. Now Shocktapus has managed to snake all the way down to his expansion field, whereas Shoktrepet chose to move his MCV and then has recaptured his spike. We have a small tier 1 army from Shocktapet making its way. Will catch any action at the base of the map first. No sign of Shocktapus claiming those spikes as yet, so this is going to be an interesting early push. And how close is Shoktrepet to tier 3? He's on tier 2 at the moment. Is he building anything from his construction yard? He is, as we keep track of this battle here. Shocktapus probably producing enough infantry to defend this early onslaught. Has he got those Scorpion tanks in his opponent's base? He has, so lots of action going on. That's probably been dealt with, as has this front here has been dealt with. And there's clever use of the Black Hand squad here that's going to vacate these buildings rather quickly, and that's going to be able to take out probably at least one of the spikes. As we see some some rocket troops have made it all the way into the opponent's base. I keep calling them rocket troops, they're missile squads, but hey. And clever use of the radar there to reveal stealth. But I don't think they're going to do too much damage with all those rocket troopers. Now, I was going to say we have some fast moving units here, some orcas. We've got tier 3 and a base push there to the next Tiberium field. So this is a very key moment of the match. We'll see what these are going to focus down. Harvesters or some units, some more attacking units. So we'll see. I think they might go for the harvesters. Here we go. Some aren't even stealthed. And there we go. We're going to have 3 harvesters go down. We are. So that is going to be a hit to the economy. And that catches shock treatment by surprise. So an interesting choice of units. We're going for an infantry swell as well as a bit of a focus on air. Now we have Venoms coming up from Shocktapus, as well as a front emerging at the back here. Really nice mine drop there. Looks like it's taken out a fair few units, but an important mix of a rifleman squad is going to take out a lot of those I can't figure out what they're called, militant rocket squads. Now Shocktapus up to tier 3 as well, and we're going to see quite a big battle for this central Tiberium field because it's the only real viable expansion. Now Shocktapet gets there first in terms of infrastructure, and he has got a lot there. And these missile squads are going to make light work of things like the avatars. And we haven't even seen the orcas come into the fray, and they are just going to take out these units with relative ease, to be honest. Although Shocktapus now starting to get some infrastructure here, but it might be just too much. I wonder if those husks can be captured. We're missing some action on the right hand side, but it's just a few rifle squads, and Shocktapus realizing that he has no chance of getting this field and therefore not much economy left. So that takes Shocktapet up 2-1, and we'll see what happens in the next game. Game 4 of the finals of the Peace Through Power tournament. We have Shocktapet in the north as the teal GDI, and in the south as pink nod it is Shocktapus. This map known for its spikes that the players like to play poker over, in that it's a little bit of guesswork about which one you or your opponent's going for, but what is safe to say is that nod usually has the advantage with the ability to produce shadow teams that can really quickly get to the opponent's base, although it seems like Shocktapus has chosen a different strategy, selling his barracks early on, and with Shocktapet as the GDI going for a crane build, slightly unusual, but I'm sure we'll see the usual strategy of APC NGs. Selling a refinery there to probably make up some of the cost of that crane. He knows he's going to be able to shoot out lots of harvesters from multiple refineries as we catch the battle for these spikes. the GDI ground units being slightly more powerful than the Nod equivalents, but shock treatment, as I had to search my mind there. There's so many shocks in this 1v1. So he's claimed one spike, and we'll keep track of, goodness me, loads of refineries here. That's a lot of harvesters, a lot of investment in eco. And Shocktapus, I wonder if he's going to spot this. He has spotted the crane build, so he knows there's an early investment in economy. Only just booting up a war factory. Whereas shock treatment went for that little bit earlier. He's just getting some scouting, and he's going to see this MCV pack up and go on its merry way. Try and capture an early expansion field, and we have the battles between buildings. Still this crane, this spike I should say, unclaimed. As scouts come in from the west, having a look at what shock treatment's up to. He is snaking his way over to the expansion field, and now he has gone crane. Probably noticing that he's got a bit of catch up to do, perhaps in terms of economy. Shoktrepet getting the expansion field earlier. This is his natural expansion, with it being a little bit closer. I was wondering if I'd missed an APC NG there, but I thought that war factory had come up a little bit late, so we're seeing our first one here, and we'll follow that as it goes towards the spike, I'm sure. Oh, and there's no, I tell a lie, there was one produced slightly earlier, and I think Shocktapus has enough Scorpion tanks to deal with this as long as he sees it early enough. We'll have a quick look at it, his kind of his view, and you can see he isn't going to be able to see it as it creeps round. As we see the cry of the flame tank, so we'll follow this from Shocktapus' point of view, because he's definitely got enough tanks to deal with it, but he's sent them elsewhere. So I think Shoktrepet reversing, and he's going to capture the MCV. That's such a shame for shock treatment. Such a shame. Those Scorpion tanks were needed elsewhere apparently. And he's even packed up the engineer, and he's gonna get the war factory. That is so unfortunate. That's got to be game, hasn't it, for shock treatment? It happens to the most experienced players you can see. He's still got a crane, so he might just have enough infrastructure to stay in the game, but it depends if Shoktrepet produces anything from this war factory. And there we go, Shocktapus giving up. Really unfortunate way for the series to go, especially with that second game. Shocktapus showing us some really interesting strategies, but just unfortunate. That's how Tiberium Wars can go sometimes. So that is 3-1 to Shoktrepet, but some amazing games from a couple of really fantastic players, and we'll hope that they're in the next tournament. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.